everybody, it is Lori Mercer with How She Quits, and I am here tonight with Amber Slaughter. And Amber and I connected through a program called the 90-Day Year, and she and I have been doing some work together. And one of the amazing things is that Amber's business, my business, are very similar. They're very relatable to each other. We both are moms. This is a late at night, by the way. I'll just be transparent and say we are not recording this part live, right? Like we had to pre-record this. It's after 10 o'clock at night, and my kids aren't around, your little one's in bed, but this is how us moms roll sometimes to get our business rolling. So,
that's right.
So we pre-recorded this, but Amber and I both run client services, consulting services kinds of businesses. We are doing some collaborative projects together, and both of us have built our businesses on the framework of the 90-Day Year. So we wanted to come talk to you guys this week, especially because 90-Day Year program only opens up a couple times a year. And even if you are not a fit for the 90-Day Year program, I want you guys to be out there consuming those free videos because they're only going to be around for like another week. And what I want you to learn from tonight, from what Amber has done, what I have done, is how you can build a business like this in a 90-day time period. So welcome, Amber.
Thank you for having me. I love this idea of How She Quits. And the whole working mom late at night thing is so true. That's what we do.
Yep. Just go with our hair, however it is.
However it is, whatever's going on, that's how we show up.
That's right. Okay, so tell everybody about your businesses, right? Because
I have two actually that aren't exactly complementary, strangely enough. And I love the 90-Day Year because it really helped me get clarity on who's on first as far as businesses are concerned. So my first business, my overall umbrella business is called The Architect Inc. And under that umbrella, I have the Life and Career Architect. So I do a lot of career coaching here in the Houston area, given what's going on with oil and gas, working with a lot of professionals who are being right-sized and helping them to find their next career on the career coaching side. And the area that Lori and I work, which I do a ton of work on now and is like my natural job career, the thing that found me, is called the Project Architect. And that's where I come and do small project management for small businesses. A lot of small business owners don't have the luxury of being able to hire that experienced project manager. And so that's where I come in. I have the corporate background and experience, bringing that to small businesses so that they can stay in their zone of genius, and then I can be in mine, which happens to be project management.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to point out two really important things. One, ladies, listen to what she said about taking her corporate skills, her high-paying, high-dollar corporate skills that you had in the cubicle, but now, right, you're doing them there from your couch. So
that's correct.
Right. Even though we were like, oh, I want to get out of the cubicle and I don't like it. I mean, skills are important. So don't confuse not liking the cubicle with not liking the work, because that work is still really valuable to a lot of people. So that's awesome. And
indeed,
the other thing is about running two businesses, because, you hear conflicting opinions on that around the internet world. Some people are all about being a multi-passionate entrepreneur. That's what Marie Forleo likes to call it. And some people say, no way, you got to focus on one, not the other. And I think you and I both agree there's a little bit of both. And actually, I was just talking to another 90-Day Year today about this, Nicole Culver. I don't know if you know her or not, but I run a big national nonprofit, and I have my consulting business, right?
That's right.
And now I'm building up the How She Quits brand and programs and my services. So, the 90-Day Year framework, I think you'll agree with this, and you can say how you did it. But for me, and Nicole said the same thing, you do have to have a framework, and you do have to goals and focus, but you can't have too many goals and projects on your plate at once. But if you can knock out a boatload of stuff in 90 days and get systemized and running and efficient, then you're only 3 months away from moving on
to the next thing.
Right, to the next thing. So
that was what I loved about 90-Day Year, actually, is that, there's this lovely term that I never even knew what it was, context switching. And the 90-Day Year really clarified that for me. I love to be a multitasker. I say I'm really good at multitasking. I'm not. And so that concept really hit home for me, and focusing on everything at once, I really didn't get anything accomplished. And so when I got like really laser focused on what my 90-day goal was, I just take what I learned and reapply it elsewhere.
That's right. That's right. And so it's not that you can't do two businesses. It's just you should really laser focus into kind of one thing at a time. And that's why, even here in my How She Quits program, I will tell the women, you women who are like, I want to start a blog, I want to do this. Amber just got somebody I'm going to keep talking. So you ladies here in the 90-day year, or in the 90-year, in the How She Quits program, yes, you can go run a very passionate business, but if you need cash faster, then I suggest you do move into kind of a client services space. We saw you get that knock on the door.
Yes, sorry. Again, the multitasking mom, right?
Go with it. Yeah. So a blog, a business, a coaching business, a building a brand like How She Quits, or like when I did the Firefighter Wife blog and turned it into a nonprofit, that's a really long business build. And if you need cash faster to leave your corporate job, then the client services route is faster.
That's the right to go. That was the clarity that Todd gave me actually on one of the focus calls, was focus on the thing that you can apply immediately and the thing that you can bring money in the door. And that money in the door feeds the other things that you want to do, which is, both are my passion, but it really will feed the coaching aspect of it. And when I looked at it from that perspective, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. I can have it all. Strange concept, but I can have it all.
That's right. That's right. And for me, I sort of got sidetracked on my consulting business when the nonprofits started blowing up kind of big, like in a good way, right? Like you want to pour into a mission, but guys, I got to tell you, my husband and I drained our savings during that season, right? Like
the nonprofit is not easy.
The nonprofit is not easy. And we were, over giving and it's important, and we're very grateful for it is, but I took my first 90-day year experience and I created the book, the resource that is the number one thing that's now important in our nonprofit is getting this book into everybody's hands. Then our nonprofit got very systemized and our team got very organized, and it's still out there like kicking butt on the mission. And I was able to systemize it. So now I could turn my focus back to building my consulting business. So we could build back up our family savings, and, I could become a financial contributor again in our household. So yeah. But it was only like when I was trying to do all of it, I was just crazy town, right? I mean, it's too much.
It indeed was. I felt the exact same way. I felt like I was spinning my wheels, doing a lot of things, but not the value add things. And that was really what I've loved about being part of this program, is that I've learned to focus on the things that are going to bring me value add.
That's right. And I just realized, look, what I have sitting in front of you, guys can't even see it, but I have my 90-day year planner,
yes,
in front of me on the table. There's a digital version, and then there's this print version, and I'm just more of a print girl. But, the concept is, Todd recommends that you can really only have a handful, 3-ish, like he only makes spots for 3 outcome-oriented goals per 2-week time period, or even per 90-day time period. So an outcome-oriented goal is you want your business to be at a certain financial level. You want a certain set of processes implemented, right? Like it's specific, but it's outcome-oriented. It's not how you're going to get there. It's what you're going towards. There's not even enough spaces. Like for me running 2 businesses, there's nowhere near enough spaces to write everything in here. And that's your first sign, right? Like
that you're doing too much.
Yeah, you're doing too much. You got to pull it back. But if somebody is, right, like wanting to like not let go of their passion entirely, and you've got 3 outcome-oriented goals in a 90-day period, 2 of them could be focused on your financial business and 1 on your kind of heart business. Would you say?
I agree. I mean, I didn't do it. I did one after the other instead of both of them at the same time, but I found the mental work that I was doing was really applicable to the next one. The thing that I love about the outcome setting, traditional goal setting says you either succeed or fail. If you don't achieve your goal, you fail, right? Mm-hmm. And he has this really cool concept called good, better, best. And that was like eye-opening for me is to define for myself, okay, what's best? What would be the best possible outcome during this 90 days? And then what's the better outcome and what's a good outcome? So I set myself up for success from the get-go because I had defined these 3 stages of success, what success really looked like in 3 phases. And if I achieved good, I was still good. I still succeeded. And then if I blew it out of the water and I got to best, even better. But the way he explains the goal setting and outcome process really helps you focus on succeeding and really setting yourself up for success, and not that mental hit that we generally take, the guilt. We failed, we didn't get to where we wanted to go. But when you think of it in context of those 3 terms, you really are getting where either one of those is your outcome.
Yeah. So you got clarity right at the beginning of this past 90-day year cycle. So you started in December 2016.
That's correct.
You were telling me earlier today about being on that call, and I can like vaguely remember, like there's a whole lot of coaching calls and group calls, and sometimes being like, I don't follow his Kool-Aid and I am context switching while I'm listening, right? So, like I've been in Kroger grocery shopping, listening to a 90-day year call multiple times now. But I can remember hearing you on the call, and I can even remember like going to your social media profile and seeing, life coach, career coach, and like putting you in that category. So here's a lesson, ladies, for those of you who are building these businesses. And when people go kind of sniff you out on social media, I totally put Amber in that category, right? Like, oh, she's career coach. Like I never would have thought, and she's got all these mad project management skills that I'm going to need someday to help me with a client project. So you got that clarity and you shifted things around. And by the end of the 90 days, you are working with me.
Yeah.
We got connected through the 90-day year community.
Yes.
Which is a huge bonus actually for being in that program, because you're around really quality people who are goal oriented and, care about the direction their businesses are going. So I find a lot of really quality people in there.
And they need what you give. Like whatever it is you provide, there's somebody in the 90-day year program that needs what you do. And, to add to that whole networking piece, they create a microeconomics group where you can actually pitch your product to people that are in the 90-day year. And so somebody needs what you do, or whatever that is, somebody needs it. And so it gives you an opportunity to market within the group, and you have access to people that you wouldn't otherwise have been able to get to without the program.
And I would say, so you built your 90-day year you got refocused into this project management piece. And so your 2-week sprints were probably things like finding clients in this space and getting them onboarded and doing the client work, right? Like in fact, let me show that slide over here. This is the system that I teach some of the ladies in our group. Like,
yep.
You need a system. You got to find leads, you got to close a sale, then you onboard them, and then you do the work, right?
The only thing I did slightly different on the lead is I worked to establish myself as a thought leader in the project management space with small businesses. So I went to the Small Business Association. I went to some other local CEO groups where people are coming to get information. And because of my corporate cubicle experience and all of the great things that came with that, I was able to talk to people about how they can fix some of their problems through using project management. And I love something Lori said earlier today. Project management is not sexy. That term is just not a sexy term. But when you talk in terms of how I can get you to your outcomes quicker, how I can help you achieve your goals, how I can help you find technology that's going to support your business and implement that technology, people get that. They resonate with that. So that's how I described what I do rather than talk about what my title was. And in fact, I don't call myself a project manager at all. I call myself the project architect. So that people don't get hung up on that. When you think of an architect, you start with a foundation and you just keep building on it. And I do that in projects.
And so you said this today earlier too, and I hear this from a lot of women. This stage right here is kind of the scariest and the hardest. Like, where do I go to find people and how do I do it? So one method you did, was to reach out into your local communities, which is perfect. And one of the frameworks I like to teach, and you know, the nice thing about 90 day year is that you just know like 5,000, let's use the number $5,000 a month. $5,000 a month is your outcome oriented goal. Well, there's a lot of ways to get to $5,000 a month. You can get there with 5 clients at $1,000 each. You can get there with one $5,000 project each month. You could get there with, 50 clients at $100 each. And the methods that you use for finding leads and closing sales are going to be different depending on the volume of leads you need and the dollar rate of the client. So you ladies who are out there in that space, I know a lot of you in the social media space are charging a low amount of money. Like, well, I only charge $250 a month for managing social media. I'm like, well, that's awesome. But that means you're going to need what, 20 clients,
20 clients, yeah,
$5,000 a month. Like, so how do you have to run this cycle to get 40 leads to close 50% of them and have 20 clients a month, right? Like that's heavy. So, your business process needs to be heavy here. So getting your business model clear, getting it right. And then, what are the projects I need to put in place and which stage of my business to reach that $5,000 a month outcome oriented goal. So one of the projects you put in place was reaching out into your local business network. So talk to me a little bit about that process.
And I wasn't at all successful in that process, but I learned something from it, interestingly enough.
Okay.
Locally, yes, I got my name out there locally, but I live in Houston, so I'm in a very oil and gas heavy city. And small businesses, entrepreneurial interests are not the big thing in Houston. If I were in Austin or Dallas or any of the surrounding cities, that would probably be a different story. So what I realized is that there aren't that many small businesses, at least here in my area, that were looking for what I was doing. So I expanded my network, and I was afraid to do the whole online thing because, you don't know who you're going to encounter. You don't know what that's going to be like. And what I found is most of my leads came from Facebook. I'm in a number of other groups, and I've done some other programs specifically focused with women. And somebody it's just, when you get clear, I believe this, and when you get clear about what it is that you do and what you have to offer, it's like the rest, I call it the universe, call it whatever you want, sets you up for success. And I saw more posts about people needing project managers, people needing somebody to help organize. They didn't even know what it was. My first client that I found that is a 90-day year, she didn't even know what it was she needed. She just knew she had all this client work, and she needed somebody to help her organize it so that she's delivering on budget and on schedule, project manager, insert me. So I actually found that I was more successful doing it online. And I know there are a lot of fears with doing, reaching out online and using the kind of technology that you use to connect virtually with somebody that's in another place, and in some cases in another country, not just another city or state, but another country.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there's lots, I worked with a lot of international people in the corporate world, so I don't have that fear as much, but yeah. Right now, we're doing the project with the team in Pakistan, right? You and I both. And I did that all day long in my corporate job, but doing it now, as my own consulting business,
it's totally different.
It's cool. It's like, well, I picked that vendor and I picked that client, and it's so empowering. And the world's such a small place. So that was something else I was going to add in here about this, right? This is just a general, for moms that are building client service consulting businesses, whether you're graphic design or web design or whatever, you can get to a certain level by yourself, right? You can turn 10 $1,000 clients a month by yourself. And I'll say this is my own experience. I felt pretty maxed out when I was kind of getting into that space. I did not bust through the $10,000 a month level until I started taking on bigger projects and partnering with people, right? So now I've got Amber in my queue, in my team, and I've got a couple VAs who are fabulous, and I've got a web designer that I work with, and now I've got this network of people, and now I feel empowered to take on bigger projects, and that busted right through my monthly revenue goals that I had set with 90-day year. So I don't know if you had that experience or not, but
I did too. But the other interesting side of that is so I did that too. I'm like, I'm going to get a lot of small projects and I'm going to make up this money over a large project. I'm one commodity and I only have so many hours in a day. And when I looked at that, I was getting the people. And what I realized was, you know why I'm getting so many people? Because I'm not charging anywhere near what I'm worth. Raise your rates. Yes, you lower your client intake and the number of clients you take on, but then you raise your value and you increase your value in the marketplace. And when I raised my rates, I got like 4 or 5 just solid clients just out of the gate that said, yes, I want to work with you for X number of hours a month or for some long-term period of time. So over the course of the 90-day year, I got clear on what I should be charging. And then I attracted those clients that were willing to pay that amount and saw the value in what I could bring to the table.
I totally agree. We hadn't even talked about this point, but I'm not just a 90-day year. I've been in Todd's Base Camp group, which is a smaller, more intimate mastermind group. We get to go to New York City 4 times a year, meet in person, and get Todd to, like, he's a harsh businessman. Like,
kick you in the butt in person.
Yeah, he gets to kick you in the butt in person. We said it feels like we're going to the principal's office, but I really like his advice because he's not just an internet marketer, he's a businessman. So it's about getting your business model right, your business strategy right, and then figuring out the right ways to market, a lot of which happen to be online these days. But the first thing that he kind of kicked me in the butt for when I started back in January was to raise my prices. And it was scary, scary, scary. But, you know, I've talked to 3 other women this week who in the How She Quits community who I know are undercharging and they're struggling with the revenue. But look at what you're charging. Like, yep. You know, if you're only charging $200 a month to manage social media, you're selling it to the wrong clients. If all they can $100 a month, you're selling it to the wrong clients, because there are people out there who I know are paying $1,000 a month for social media management because the leads that come in are worth $500,000 each. So you have to really look at your business model and broaden that. And, you know, that you can definitely run that course through a 90-day year cycle. So you don't know, right? Like if this is your revenue goal and you know you need to work on lead generation, or you need to work on closing, or you need to change your product offering, those are little projects that happen along the way. And like you said, I started in the Chamber of Commerce and that was kind of a wrong place to be. Mm-hmm. But I learned and I failed fast because that was probably a 2-week sprint.
But that was good. You failed over a 2-week period versus a 6-month or a year-long period of banging your head against that one thing, trying to make it work.
That's right. You came up for it and you're like, oh, that didn't work, so I got to adjust course. And next 2-week sprint, I'm trying something different. So that's one of my reasons I really enjoy the system as well. We're obviously beating 90-day year, you know, to death because we're believers in it. It's totally built our businesses, and cart is open this week. So this is, you know, it only comes open a couple times a year. So it's the time to like get in and you know, invest in this community. So tell me, okay, I want to hear 2 things and you can do them in whatever order you want. I want to hear how this was different than other planning systems you used. And I also want to hear how you kind of leapt over that, oh my gosh, like this is an expensive program. Like for some people, this is the first time they've sort of stepped into that space of buying a more expensive training program. So whichever order.
So I'll start with other programs. Yes, I've done many other programs. Interestingly enough, at the time that I was introduced to the 90-day year, I was doing a program that was 3 times the cost of what the 90-day year was. And I was just hitting my head against the wall because what they were selling was this roadmap to doing what worked for them. Mm-hmm. And I don't like fitting into molds. It takes away the creative process. It takes away my ability to like really do what I do. And I just couldn't get it. And I just was like, why can I not get this? And when I listened to that first video where he talks about, you know, this is just the framework. What you do with the framework, you make it your own. And so taking the concepts and the principles and the tools allowed me to have that structure that I so like as project manager. And and be able to apply that to my specific business. So I could take that framework and apply it to 50 different businesses. It doesn't matter. So that was the thing that really pushed me over the edge, is how quickly, even just from the video series, it really helped me get clear on some things that I had not been able to get clarity on. One, why can't I make the system that worked for everybody else work for me? Well, I'm not like everybody else, so this is why it's not working for me.
Yeah.
And then overcoming the fear of the expense, because I had just paid for something that was so incredibly expensive right before this. I was really hesitant. But I knew somebody that I trusted. She said it worked. She had been going to base camp for a while, and she said it worked. And so I said, well, let me give it a shot. And I know this sounds crazy. I'm a small business owner. I'm frugal. I have a kid. I have all these other expenses, right? So I said, let me sign up for the payment plan. And the thing that I loved about him is he has this guarantee. If it doesn't work and you've gone through the processes, then you can ask for a refund. Mm-hmm. Not many businesses are wanting to stand behind their product in that way and say, even though you're on a payment plan, even though you've paid it in full, if this doesn't work for you and you've gone through the process, then you can get a refund. That's how much that he really believes in the program. So I really liked that guarantee. And oddly enough, I added that guarantee to my coaching business as well.
Yeah. I think it's great because, like, I don't want to do work for people that aren't getting results, right? So
exactly.
Somewhere, then let's fix that. Let's fix that right away. And, I don't want to take your money if I'm not going to be able to do good things with it. So, right. Yeah, I totally agree.
So that was really, it was a win-win situation. I really had at that point nothing to lose and everything to gain. And when I got really clear about what I wanted to do, and I know this is going to sound like a crazy term, but I niched down. So I had this broad net, and there's no way in the world that I could get this broad net. But when I really got clear on who I really wanted to work with and the types of businesses and the types of people that I wanted to help and work with and partner with, that really helped me more than anything to get clear about who I really wanted to be and what I wanted to be to my clients.
Exactly. And that iterative process that you go through, like doing a 2-week sprint and then coming up for air, I mean, I think it really helps you get more and more clarity each time. Like, even if you feel like you're like all over the map for 1-2 weeks, that's your learning. You're like, boy, I was all over the map. Now let me readjust. Okay, this is going to get better. So, yeah.
That was what really hooked me, actually. As a PM in IT, I was Agile certified. And so I was very familiar with the sprint approach. And I'm like, wow, I get what it can do for projects and how you can turn things around and realize benefit in a shorter amount of time. And this is the same concept. I'm able to do something, try it. Did it work? Lessons learned. It worked, it didn't work. Okay, let me erase that and let me start over in the next 2-week sprint. And you're continually applying what you learned over a shorter amount of time. So the whole of last year, when I was trying to figure out my business before I signed up for this, I didn't have that concept. I just kept banging my head against this wall about trying to do it the way that everybody else had done it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to one of the first things you said too about why this program was different than others you had looked at, because there's obviously, we're all being sold online training courses like all day long. If you're here, if you're watching this, you've been, I've sold you my program. So one of the things the mistake I had made also is that I had done other training programs, but they were very like internet marketing focused. So back in 2012, I did a program specifically about Facebook marketing. And did it help? Yeah, I learned a ton about Facebook marketing. I have 100,000 followers on Firefighter Wife that I would not have if I had not learned that in 2012. But it was when I also paid that person for more. And what I really needed was business model help. And all she really knew was Facebook marketing. Okay. And so then she actually fired me as a client, by the way, because like it ended up not being a match. She realized, she's like, well, I've taught you everything about Facebook marketing, but now you have a business model problem. And I'm like, okay, then like it crushed me at first. And I'm like, oh no, like, I'm really glad to be away from that. Right.
Yes.
But there's, what you need, if you're very sure that you need to be a rock star in Instagram marketing, by all means, go take my favorite Hillary Rushford's Instagram marketing course, right? Like I think she's a rock star in it. But if you're not sure that that Instagram marketing should be one of your projects, then you better back up and do more of a business strategy and kind of get your life and projects in order course, like 90 Day Year. 90 Day Year is very much like you said, it's a framework and it's repeatable. So now I can take this process, I can apply it to projects at home. I can apply it to any business.
Anything.
Yeah, that works. So if you guys are thinking about, even if you're thinking about like my program, 6 weeks to clients, I have an application process for that, because I don't want somebody to come into that program that it's not a fit for. And, if somebody wants to build a direct sales business, then my 6 weeks to clients program is not right.
Not right.
If you're a big blogger, it's not right. Like, it's a very specific program for taking your professional skills and building a freelance client services business. 90 Day Year is a system that any business owner can apply to their business.
And I love that it does include the direct sales model. I mean, you can be in any type of business and figure out how to make this work. In fact, there are a lot of direct sales folks that are in the program. A lot of the Instagram gurus, Facebook gurus, content gurus, all these people that you see that you're taking individual courses from, you'll likely find that they've gone through Todd's 90-Day Year. I mean, everybody probably knows Freedom Hackers or just Kimmer Luna, and she's huge. Mm-hmm. And she tells her story and how she went from nothing to $1 million and retiring her husband. She is a student of the 90-Day Year, and that's the model that she applied to get where she is. Now she's teaching people the things that she knows, and that's in her zone of genius, and that's the beauty of that.
That's right. If you're an Amy Porterfield fan, she was also
exactly
of the program. So lots of big names out there have applied it. What you might not know, and even in our base camp, there are people who don't even have anything to do with online businesses who apply this to their business. So there's a guy who owns a gun shop. There's a lady who runs a chain of karate stores. There's another lady who actually runs a franchise of elder care, like home care, nursing franchise. So, whatever business you're running, like this method applies to, because it's about peak performance, right? It's about how do I operate at my best? How do I operate my business at my best? So, one obvious thing I should say here is that I'm obviously an affiliate for this program because I believe in it. I am only affiliate for programs that I have done, that I've gotten results in, and I'm super picky about that. So one of the, as an affiliate, those who purchase through me, I am going to have a special bonus program that I'll put the link into this video that you'll see. But especially for those who are like Amber, who are in the client services space and want to take a 90-Day Year system and have clients, a client docket at the end of 90 days, that's what you'll get in my bonus program. So those details will be out on the website, and we can talk about that further. But I would love, like, this just blends all my worlds, right? Like, yeah. I know how to build this business model. You want this business model. All right, this is the best system for knocking things out in the next 3 months, even if you're working a day job, by the way.
And I did this while working a corporate gig. I was doing consulting work. I was still working for myself, but I was going to a client site every day. And so I was doing this in the hours I had at home. I was doing this on weekends. I mean, it can work. Building your business and working in and on your business can happen at any point in wherever you are in that whole going from where you are to going to your full-time freelance working for yourself model.
For sure. So, okay, one last thing. Fear, right? It's the big fear monster that holds everybody back. What do you have to say to these ladies in our How She Quits community who, they've got skills, they've got talents, and you and I being on the other side are like, oh my gosh, you're so close. All you have to do is,
X, yes.
Yeah.
I'll say, I shared this with Lori, I hate video. I hate being on video. I hate seeing myself on video. I hate hearing myself on video. It's just horrible, right? Because I have this fear of how I'm going to come off to other people. But one thing I found is nobody has time in the virtual world, right? It's rare that you get face-to-face on the phone time with them, because they're not in the same place as you. So you have to use technology to your advantage. And so sending a video to Lori to apply for a job, I'm qualified for, more than qualified for. I just didn't want to do the video. So sometimes we have to figure out that we've reached that wall, and that wall is the external wall of our, between where we are comfortable and where we are uncomfortable. And every ounce of growth that you'll have from this point forward exists outside of that little comfort zone. And that's that little circle that makes us feel safe, and that illusion of safety it is. But nothing new happens in that illusion space of comfort. The only real new that can be created is outside of your comfort zone and doing things that you otherwise wouldn't be comfortable with, and selling yourself of all things. That's what client services is. You're selling yourself and your abilities to somebody else. Think of it not as a sale, but you're marketing who you are. You're talking about what you do. You are the expert on you. And so think of it as even an interview, a job interview. When you went to a job interview for your corporate gig, you were selling yourself. Every time you got a new job, every time you applied for a promotion, you were selling yourself. You're just taking that same skill set and applying it elsewhere and talking to people outside of that space and telling them how you can help them and get really clear on what your value proposition is. But fear is one of two things. And I've always used this model, false evidence appearing real. And so I have to ask myself, what is the so what? When fear approaches, and it happens to everybody, and nobody is fearless. There's no such thing. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway, that we have to do. So when you reach that point of fear, you're grappled with, okay, I can't move. I don't want to do this. And it's pushing back against you. Ask you, what's the worst case scenario? Ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? In most cases, the worst thing that can happen is somebody says no. And what's the so what of that no? So I've always told myself, a no is a step closer to a yes. So what's the so what of a no? Is somebody going to kill you because you said no? I mean, you learn not to take those things personally. So you have to figure out, okay, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? And then when you identify what that is, what's the so what of that? If that worst thing happens, then what?
That's right. And no, it's not, no, you're awful. No, you don't have skills. Most of the time it's no, not right now. Yep. No, I'm not ready. It's like we projected on ourselves, like we got rejected. No, just the moment got rejected, right? It's just the moment. And I'll tell you one of my favorite all-time Toddisms. I even have it on my desk, and I'm not a big cusser, guys. Like, I'm totally not a big cusser, and I've got this quote on my desk on a baseball because, Todd is a sports performance coach. He coaches Olympic athletes and, professional athletes, and, came out of that field and gave himself to the entrepreneur world because we want to be peak performers too. He always talks about getting on the field of play. When you're sitting there in fear, you're not on the field of play, right?
You're on the bench.
You're on the bench. You're not here. No, you're not hearing yes. So this is his little quote that I got at his 90-day year event this year. Let's see if, I don't know if I can get it into focus. Can we get that into focus?
Yes.
Can you read that? Because now I can't even read it backwards.
No, you can't really read it.
Okay.
You have to read it. Yes.
0 home runs were hit with an idle bat. So effing swing, people. That's what Todd Herman says. Swing the bat, right? Get on the field of play and swing the bat.
Nothing's possible unless you are on the field. If you're on the bench, a no isn't possible. A yes isn't possible. Nothing is possible. At least swing. And if nothing else, you fail.
That's right.
And then you learn from that failure and apply it going forward.
That's right. Okay, so here's the swings you guys can take right now. Go watch the free videos. If you do nothing else, go watch the free videos. Soak them up. They're going to be gone this week. You're going to learn from them. You're going to learn about the OPPs. You can go learn what that is. You can learn about the owl brain and the wow brain. There's a lot of stuff that's going to set you free in there. And go out. You know what I preach all the time. You start a client services business. You get 1 client, you get 2 clients, you get 5 clients, and then you quit, right? Like whatever your number is. And go out onto Upwork, go out into, Flex Jobs, all those places that are out there. Yeah, keep looking, keep trying, keep applying, because you're going to learn about yourself doing that. As long as you're sitting there kind of all caught up in your brain, like you're not making forward progress. So those are a couple actions everybody can take. And I just love this. I could talk forever, but I'm also like busy working mom. You're busy working mom. I'm all pumped up now, and it's 11 o'clock at night. And, so I want to be efficient with everybody's time. So thank you, Amber, so much for
Oh, thank you, Lori. And I hope everybody found this beneficial, and that nothing else, just watch the videos.
Yes. Watch the videos, go get something out of them. And we'll be here. Amber's in the group. So if you guys have questions for her, drop them into the comments on this video, and we'll help you guys, because I don't know, like Amber and I want more people like us working alongside us. There's more projects than we have time to do, right?
That's exactly right. And one of the things you'll learn, and I'll stop talking about 90-day year, but I could talk forever. One of the things you'll learn is you're one person until you scale up, ramp up, scale up. And to do those things, to move from level to level in your client services business, you have to strategically partner with the right people and build a team that works for you.
That's right. It's a great place to find good people.
Indeed.
All right. Well, everybody have a great evening, and I cannot wait to answer more questions with you. Bye, guys.
Bye.